wish you all a very warm welcome to Edinburgh. It is actually quite warm. It's not typical weather today. It's very nice. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Center for Global Health Research in the Edinburgh University. You already asked me about how does it relate to the Center for Dementia Prevention and other centers and so on. So very brief introduction of the University of Edinburgh. University of Edinburgh has three big colleges. Okay, so that's its structure. Three very big colleges. One is Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. So that's history, English, literature, anthropology, and things like that. One is engineering and science, so that's all technology-driven things. And one is medicine and veterinary medicine. So medicine and veterinary medicine is the biggest college, all right? And it's really organized mainly in centers, in research centers, and also some institutes. So, so we have 4 or 5 big institutes, and then within some institutes we have some research centers. And then outside of institutes, we also have some research centers. So research center is typically, I don't know, 50 to 100 principal investigators with their own groups. So they're quite big and quite substantial and trying to be among world leading. So a Center for Global Health Research is a very recent and still small center, still in development, and it's part of a larger institute called the Usher Institute. Usher Institute has been a completely new institute as well, so they both started at the same time, the Usher Institute with the Center for Global Health Research. Usher Institute is an attempt for Edinburgh to become, as we like to say, the data capital of Europe. So we want to really invest heavily into data science, you know, data-driven research, big data stuff, merging computer sciences with medicine. And here in Edinburgh, we have one of the best medicines in the world, really, you know, one of the top 12 medical colleges. And we have #1 informatics in Europe, and maybe only a handful best in the world as well. So we have a fantastic opportunity to merge the expertise from one of the best medical colleges in the world with one of the best informatics hubs in the world into some sort of a data science for medicine or medical informatics. And that's the vision for the Usher Institute, really. And within that Usher Institute comes Center for Global Health Research. Now, why have we been selected, Harry and I, to develop the Center for Global Health research here? Because both of us have actually been in genetics research for many years, but Harry has a history, and he'll tell you more about it, of working for World Health Organization and working generally as a pediatrician in international health in the 80s. And we worked in genetics, but Harry kept working with international health friends and also got me interested in that. And little by little, as our side projects, in addition to genetics, we started doing more and more global health. The timing was brilliant because with the Gates Foundation, the Gavi, the Global Fund, you know, suddenly there was a lot of money, and also there was always a lot of interest from our medical students. We are both researchers and teachers at the University School of Medicine here, and students are always interested very much in global health topics. So little by little, when the Usher Institute started about 3 years ago, we only had about 6 people who could say that they are doing some work in the global health. And now we grew to more than 50 over the 3 years, and I'll show you how it all happened. So we needed some strategy, some plan. So what would we be about? We were only 6 people, but we need some reasonable agenda where we could be leading in international arena. So we decided we're going to be assisting World Health Organization, UNICEF, the World Bank, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others in measuring global health. So that's one area of our strength. We are quite good at doing global health metrics stuff. Then governing global health, we have Professor Devi Sridhar here, who came from Oxford, and she is developing this line of work. And innovating for global health. So we thought that we could merge somehow our expertise in genetic research and quantitative medical research with the global health and try to develop some biobanks perhaps, or something that we had the expertise that we could introduce from the point of expertise here in Edinburgh to global health community. All right. So we said, okay, let's focus around these 3 topics. We can be quite good here. Devi and her team can be quite good at this and innovating. And it's a quite diverse portfolio. This is kind of a dry lab work, just crunching numbers. This is kind of policy relevant work, which is quite important. And this is quite wet lab work, which is to do with collection of biological samples for global health research. So we thought, okay, we have some edge in these 3 things. Let's just build everything around those 3 things, right? So this is a stream of measuring global health. This is governing global health. This is innovating for global health. And this is the plan that we set to ourselves. We said we would like to have 10 professors, 10 readers and chancellor's fellows, about 30 research fellows, lecturers and postdocs, 15 administrators, and 35 PhD students, and that would get us to 100 people. So to get from 6 to 100 is very, very difficult, obviously. But this was our plan. And this is where we managed to get, well, this was April 2017, so this was about a year ago, right? So sorry, this is an old presentation, but we were at 47, now we're well over 50, in fact, probably more close to 60 already. So remarkably, in slightly more than 3, actually it's 3 years exactly, I think. We started in April 2015, I think. So it's just over 3 years. We managed to get from about 6 people to about almost 60 people. That's actually quite, now that I say that, that's actually quite, sounds quite good. Now, clearly PhD students are easy for us to recruit because that is globally open arena and many people interested in global health. Administrators are growing as we get more grants, because on each new grant we manage to hire a couple of administrators. Then this is where we want to have most people, actually. So we want to have 30, but they are difficult to get because they need to be funded from grants, and then they need to be sustained. These are the people who are not on permanent contracts. And then we have readers and chancellors fellows. They're not completely safe, but in much safer positions, longer term contracts, not completely safe, but longer term. And then we managed to now have as many as 7 professors, and you can see how everyone is falling under which stream of work. So it's a nice little center which is young, but it's growing very, very fast. We don't want to necessarily be much bigger than 100 because it becomes difficult to manage, but anything between 100 and 150 is probably fine, and that's, I think, what universities also want. It's the quality that matters, not the quantity. Okay, so the key funding sources, this is what we usually get to support our work for measuring global health. We have grants for National Institute for Health Research, British Heart Foundation, European Commission, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, World Health Organization, UNICEF, Commonwealth Trust, Chief Scientist Office Scotland, and also some from industry, Diabetes UK, and so on. So these are the grants that we got as a group that was recognized to be doing a decent job in measuring global health and developing some estimates of the burden of disease and the problem and risk factors and interventions. Then in terms of governing global health, Devi is supported from the Wellcome Trust, Chandra Foundation and the World Bank. And innovating for global health, we, Harry and Harish Nair, got a very, very big grant from the European Commission, 29 million euros to work towards the RSV vaccine, not to produce the vaccine, but to do all the groundwork towards its production. Then Cancer Research UK and some work that's supporting our biobanking as well. So you can see that we're funded quite well. The funding situation in the UK for global health is now excellent. So a little bit on this innovating for global health. This is a high-risk work. We are part of the Bill and Melinda Gates funded project with the World Health Organization called Amani, trying to bring high-tech genomic and radar research to poor countries and focus genomic efforts on the diseases of the poor, because typically they're focused on the diseases of the rich, but we would like here to actually change that and make the use of all those technologies to tackle the disease of the poor. This is Ozren in Bangladesh, I think. I think he's in Mirzapur here, I think, maybe. No. He's in. Oh wait, Matla. No, this he could be. I don't know. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this was in Bangladesh when he was working there. Okay, so training and capacity building activities. So we're not only doing research, although we're called Center for Global Health Research, we're also doing a lot of teaching. And the teaching is very popular, as I said, with students. In year 1, we have Global Health Unit. In year 2, we have Epidemiology and Statistics, which is now getting medical informatics alongside. And in Masters of Public Health, we have at least 4 master's courses focused on global health topics. So it was not that difficult for us to pull together an induction week, because we already are doing quite a lot of teaching in global health, obviously, and it just needed to do some reshuffling and selection of the best content. We are also having an online master's and PhDs in global health. This is led by Liz Grant and Ruth McQuillan and Christina Matthews. Then there is Edinburgh University Global Health Society. This is something that Harry and I set up years ago for all the students of the University of Edinburgh, not just medical students, all the students, economics, engineering, our anthropology, who are interested in global health issues. They can join, and then they are meeting regularly once a month and watch the movies on global health, or have discussions, or have guest speakers. And some of them actually went and did internships with the World Health Organization with our support, and helped hugely the staff there, whom we have good relations with. And then the policy work for the World Health Organization that we're doing as collaborating centers. We're developing manuals, and we're part of their committees. We are also publishing quite a lot. We published the book Healthy Ideas Improving Global Health and Development in the 21st Century. That is underlying the master's course. Devi has published with Chelsea Clinton, that's the Chelsea Clinton, the Governing Global Health book. Survival, the Story of Global Health, is something that's just going to be out of press soon, which is a year 1 textbook for Introductory to Global Health. Then this is the book that is underlying the biobanking work. And we are now translating some of these books, if not all of them, into massive open online courses, so that people can notice that good things are happening here. Survival, the Story of Global Health, is a documentary that I've developed with my PhD student Ian Campbell, which is on YouTube, and you can check it yourself. And we're working on other MOOCs now. Now, we're also quite well known for Journal of Global Health. This is a journal that we launched in 2011. We had a World Epidemiological Conference in 2011 in Edinburgh here, and on that occasion we launched the Journal of Global Health. It's now been publishing for 7 years. It has impact factor of about 3.5, and it's in the top 10-15% of world's journals that are indexed. So among the best journals, it's still in top 10-15%. Well, we publish. We are now. Oh, this is old. My goodness. Oh, this is now 1,000. So the submissions keep increasing. Actually, this is a presentation from only a year ago, and it was 350. Now we are between 800 and 900 submissions a year already. So we have about 250,000 people visiting the journal's website from nearly all countries in the world. We're the second highest ranked journal in Scotland, and we reject more than 80% of papers. So that went quite well, actually. Now I'm able to say after 7 years that actually worked. I think it's funny that it did, because when you saw the team behind it, you would not think that we could do something like this. But actually, we held on to it, and it's now very enjoyable to have our own journal. Actually, this year we launched the Journal of Global Health Reports. That's something I'd like to tell you about. Basically, this journal we are keeping at a limited number of papers, obviously only the best ones. But we have noticed that we are getting many good papers from local sites that are on small sample sizes, but they're good studies that are tackling very important, interesting problems, and they're giving us very useful information. So it's a pity rejecting those papers, because mainly they're done by some enthusiastic person postdoc from Harvard or Stanford or Oxford going to some village for 6 months or a year and studying some very difficult problem, like maybe home violence of drunk men against women, which is also culturally sensitive to talk about. And then they study this on maybe 30, 40 households, and they want to publish this. And this is a really original, novel, important work, which is very difficult to get any information on. But there's no one who wants to publish this because no one's going to cite that. There's not many studies in that area, and it's small sample size, so most journals reject this. So we now developed a special journal called Journal of Global Health Reports, with the tagline promoting local research to improve global health. And we are actually inviting all those papers. We don't care about the impact factor. We're just saying, who cares how much they get cited? We just want this important, useful information to be published somewhere. And we're hoping to attract as many people as possible. Now it's been 5 months, and we already have 42 submissions since the beginning of the year. So that's also looking strong and healthy. I think when we get some impact factor, we're going to be getting maybe even more than 1,000 papers a year. So this is just showing you that there's a lot of research going on in the world of global health, and we're really tapped into it with this, and it's going strong. So this is something I need to tell you about. GCRF, Global Challenges Research Fund, not Grand Challenge, Global Challenges Research Fund. So this is typical only for the UK. This is only UK thing. So what happened is that UK has Department for International Development for bilateral support programs, and they are giving very, very large programs, multi-million programs to countries to develop, their infrastructure or whatever. There's been a lot of speculation in the media that this was not spent transparently, perhaps in some places and so on. So the government responded to that criticism by giving quite a big chunk of money to medical research councils. So from the international development stream to the research stream, to medical research councils. And now we have 1.4 billion pounds over the next 6 years, which nobody could foresee, only for global health projects. Okay, so when you think about it, divide that by 6 years, so that's about 250 million each year, and it's coming maybe in 4 times a year rounds, so every 3 months there's new calls. So that means that there's another 70 million pounds available every 3 months for new projects, and they're all thought to be multi-million, and most of the money needs to go to low and middle income countries. So that is the stream that we are targeting here. And I think KIT needs to be applauded for doing a phenomenal job, because this was a 3-step process, really. The first step was that KIT needed to convince people from all over the university who work in dementia to get together and try to develop a proposal for GCRF for our university. Then she needed to also identify people from low and middle income countries who she could bring here to become the recipients of this, really. And finally, now the third step will be writing the proposal and submitting a proposal. And the best way to do this is to firstly write up the few papers that we all feel should show that we are working together, we are functional. We would like to publish this towards the end of the year as a series of papers on dementia prevention, and then we can use that material that everyone wrote to put together the research grant and to also refer to those papers that we published together. So that's the idea. So that's not a minor thing to get all this going, but KIT has been doing really well in the last few months to firstly get a lot of interest from Edinburgh. Of course there will be interest because, I mean, this is now the biggest funding stream in the whole of UK, and everyone's now trying to get into global health somehow. But nevertheless, KIT managed to get a great group. Now you're all here, and we're going to have 2 more groups coming later this month, to represent India and China and South American countries and African countries. So we're going to have a really nice consortium here, like serious consortium, not just. So university supported KIT in this effort for some funding that was available to the university to pump prime these groups that can be competitive for these calls. So obviously we have universities supporting this, KIT is doing a great job, and now thank goodness we have you interested as well, because you're the most important part of the whole plan, is to find the reliable partners in low and middle income countries who can then take this money and do a good job with it, all right? So, right, so I told you all this. Competition is massive, but we are so far have gotten two really big grants, two grants of 7 million. Sanjay, you're part of one of them, and this is something that we envisaged for this dementia, and we would like to think about, get the funding to do something with our partners to generate data, then develop data science platform, build capacity firstly through master's programs for the partner countries to generate the data, and then develop data science platform, analyze, interpret, and then inform policy. But this was just a rough thinking what could we as the Usher Institute do to help. And this is just a general template for all our grants, really. All our grants should start with partner countries, capacity building, generating data, developing data science platform, trying to get some industry partners to help us with the data science platform like IBM, then analyze, interpret, standardize, improve understanding, do evidence-based policy, improve decision making, improve development and capacity. So this is what ideally should be happening with these GCRF grants. This is not anything terribly specific. This is just to show you what we believe GCRF grants should be about. Using everyone's strengths to develop better world, more healthy world based on evidence. So there were calls, and these two grants are the ones that we got, both in excess of 7 million, almost 7 million. And now dementia, this is Kit and Craig. We already put a bid of 1.5 million, but unfortunately, the whole call just awarded the big grants. Hardly any small grants got anything on that call. So now we want to turn that small grant potentially into big grant, because clearly they need to get rid of so much money, and they don't want to just give so much money to small projects that are just going to end up in few papers. They really want people to be able to build new important connections. So it would be strategically important for us to, it's fantastic if we can even get 1.5 million, but it would be even better that we build a consortium that could potentially be seen as worthy of 7 million, because it seems to be easier to get 7 million for a big vision than 1.5 million for a smaller vision, because this program is all about big vision and creating long-lasting partnerships. So clearly global health is a rapidly emerging field globally, excellent area for both research and teaching. We have opportunities here to lead in both. It's very well funded in comparison to most other research fields. A remarkable variety of donors operate in this field. This GCRF funding is an excellent opportunity, but also not that easy to get. Competition is enormous. Everyone knows about it in the UK. So we need to constantly monitor what's happening and review and try to understand better how to be successful. So now with all KIT's effort, I think we should be in a shape towards the end of the year to put together a really serious big grant proposal and then go for the next call with this. So that's the plan. Let's meet here. Let's exchange ideas. Let's see what's realistic to do in your countries, what are your capacities and what are your key questions, and let's make it driven by you, because that's the key to success. The key to success of these grants is that it's all driven by people from low and middle income countries. We help them build capacity for research, but they say what are the key questions, and then they get the money to do this, and then we help them again to publish this in the best possible way and analyze and so on. So that's that. I hope you now understand much better where you came to and what we're doing and how long is it going on. And we're a new center, but we're in a really good place at the moment, so we're hoping to get as many of these big grants as possible in the next few years. All right, now Harry will tell you a little bit more if I skipped anything or...
I think Igor covered.
Sorry, how do you mind standing there so you can...
Okay.
So I think Igor's covered a completely new scheme in the funding landscape. It's £1.5 billion of the British aid budget given to the research councils. So it's a particular type of funding. It has to meet this overseas development assistance criteria. So Sanjay, you've experienced this through Respire. The approach is that the problems come from the partners. It's not Edinburgh wanting to do a project they want to run in India. It's India identifying what the problems are and then working together as a partnership to identify some research questions and projects around that. Capacity building is a major part of it. Most of the budget goes to the low and middle income country partner. It doesn't stay in Edinburgh. And the idea is that it should achieve some impact, not just a publication in the Lancet, but some real impact. So it's a very nice scheme to be part of. While we're sitting here, an email comes in with 13 GCRF funding opportunities just today, covering all kinds of travel grants, PhDs, new projects on child and adolescent health, neglected tropical diseases, and so on and so on. So we're constantly scanning these to see what might be appropriate, both within Respire to add to what we're doing, but in this area of dementia prevention. Another nice thing about this particular collaboration is it's linking together the Centre for Global Health Research that Igor's told you about and the Centre for Dementia Prevention. So it's taking a strong group within the university and linking it with the Global Health Group and trying to pursue a global health dimension to the very successful dementia prevention work that's going on in the UK, and pooling all our expertise and resources to try and make ourselves as competitive as possible. Because of projects like Respire and TIBA, we're learning quite a lot about this scheme and what they're looking for and how to run these. So this also should make us more competitive in the future. So dementia is clearly a priority. It's an area we have expertise. So I think this group is very well placed to take this forward. And as Igor has already described, within the Usher Institute, our centres are all on topics that could be relevant here, from public health and primary care to clinical trials to using new technologies and new methods of analysing data to address problems in a new way. So I think this group is well positioned to go forward and to secure support to build up something that hopefully will be a long-term partnership. Again, through Respire, we've only started for a year. We're funded for 4 years, but our intention is this goes on for 20 years, that once we build up these partnerships, we can keep building on this for the future. So other than that, I think nothing else to say. I think Igor's covered our structures and within the Usher Institute. So if I think we'll leave it at that and have some discussion. If there's any questions you have, we'd be very happy to take them.